This ain't no clickbait. This ain't no fugazi. This is real. The government right now is going through a massive power struggle. And guess who's leading it? Yes, the conservatives are being like good mosquitoes for the liberals. They're just getting them from everywhere. But it's not just the conservatives. It's the NDP. Of all people, it's the NDP, which is nuts, because if this happens, I don't want a premature W, you know, I don't want to say good job, but let's just get some W's going in the chat, because this is good. And this is the NDP that's doing this. All right. Just posted on my X while we were live. Look at this. NDP leader Don Davies says that they will vote against the throne speech later today. If the CPC and the bloc join forces, Carney will not have the confidence of the House. Parliament will have to be dissolved and another election will be called. This is insane. This is bananas what's going on, man. Oh my goodness. So you're seeing the NDP just really be annoying for the liberals. We're seeing a different shift right now. Okay, we didn't win the election. That sucks, right? That sucks that we didn't win the election. But what's going on now is still half decent. You've got the NDP. They're not happy with the liberals at all. And they're making it known to everybody. Even voting on the the summer budget, to have a budget delivered before they take off for the summer break. Like I said, you have unity from parties now. The NDP's joining in and going, we want a budget now. Are we going to see an early election? I don't know, man. But what I do know is all of the parties ain't happy with the liberals. This is really good. Now, is the NDP going to fail us the way that they did with Jagmeet Singh? Possibly. But we got some drama, and I'm here for it. This is exciting. Let's take a look now at the NDP leader. It's so weird to see not Jagmeet. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I love that we don't see Jagmeet anymore. It makes my day. Cheers. I just got coffee, but cheers to everybody who's enjoying not Jagmeet Singh. Let's see what he's got to say. He just spoke live right now.
Good afternoon, everybody. Bonjour tout le monde. Today, Donald Trump doubled tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum. This is a reckless move that will hurt workers and industry on both sides of the border. Today, I note that Labour, the FCM, and the Chambers of Commerce have called on this government to take meaningful action to protect jobs and the industry. Prime Minister Carney has announced before that he would allocate all of the monies from the countervailing tariffs to affected workers, and yet to date, we have not seen any meaningful announcement from this government to protect workers who will lose their jobs or Canadian industry. New Democrats are calling on this government to take a number of swift measures. First, we want them to bring in emergency reforms to the employment insurance program. Second, we want to make the use of Canadian steel mandatory in all government infrastructure projects and a centerpiece of the One Canada economy legislation. And third, we'd like to see tax incentives to private businesses to encourage them to use Canadian-made products. The second thing I want to announce today is that New Democrats met in caucus this morning, and we decided that we are going to be voting no to the throne speech. 1.2 million Canadians sent New Democrats to this Parliament to advocate for working families across this country. And yet, in this throne speech, we don't see those priorities reflected.
That's happening today. Ladies and gentlemen, do you guys know what voting against the throne speech is? That's a form of non-confidence. If you have a majority vote against the throne speech, they gotta do an election. No way! Oh my God! Put some W's down in the chat, man. Oh boy! Wow! This is crazy! Carney just got in, man! He might get out before summertime! Oh my goodness! Whew. My heart's beating so fast. Oh, man.
Millions of Canadians don't have access to an affordable home. They don't have access to timely health care, and they don't have access to the good family-sustaining jobs that they need. And yet the throne speech doesn't even mention the words health care. You won't even find those words in the throne speech.
You're right, buddy.
There is no mention of non-market housing, cooperative housing, or housing for Indigenous people, some of the most acute needs in this country when it comes to affordable housing.
You're right.
And it foreshadows $28 billion in cuts that will absolutely hurt working people across this country. So we will be voting no against the throne speech and making sure that the interests of working people across this country are reflected, and we'll continue to fight for those measures that we know that so many millions of Canadians and working families need in this country.
On tariffs.
Bro! Oh my goodness! Almost, yes, they say in Quebec. This is huge. This is huge. There's nothing that can happen between now and the throne speech that would prevent them from voting no. There's nothing. This is it. We're going to have, and now the Bloc needs to do it, and obviously the Conservatives are going to do it. And the Bloc has been very upset with how mismanaged everything has already been. You following? So we are very much on track to see a vote against the throne speech, which would trigger an election. Ladies and gentlemen, this is awesome. This is, who would have thunk today would be today's news, huh? Wow. Anyone else got goosebumps? Man, that coffee is hitting good. All right. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man. I can't help but smile now. I want to encourage everybody right now. Smash that like button. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, huh? We're bringing you this stuff hot off the press as it's happening live every day. Oral questions. Guess on the house. Honorable Andrew Scheer.
Let's be clear. Trump's tariffs on Canada are wrong, unjustified, and attack on our workers and our economy. Now, while other countries have got deals to lower their tariffs, not only has the PM failed to do that, but he's got Canada's tariffs doubled on steel and aluminum. He promised he was the man with the plan. He can't even get a deal. Our workers are terrified about losing their jobs, and he promised that he'd collect $20 billion in retaliatory tariffs, but then secretly drop those tariffs to zero during the campaign. If he's so sure that he's still going to collect $20 billion, why not table a budget and prove it to Canadians?
There you go. Give us the budget, man.
Mr. Speaker, the American tariffs, the new tariffs on steel and aluminum, are unlawful, unjustified, and illogical. I agree with the member. And that is why, one of the reasons why we have retaliatory tariffs on over $90 billion worth of U.S. goods. We are in intensive negotiations with the Americans and in parallel preparing reprisals if those negotiations do not succeed.
Wow, he sucks at question period.
Well, one way to deal with the Americans is from a position of strength. But now the Prime Minister is saying that he won't even approve a new pipeline unless there is consensus. This is already unraveling. The radical BC Premier says no pipeline through his province. There's not even consensus in the Liberal cabinet, with top ministers committed to killing oil and gas projects. The vast majority of Canadians don't want to give a veto to politicians. They want to be less dependent on the Americans and to earn more powerful paychecks from selling our oil and gas around the world. Will the Prime Minister show some leadership and commit to approving a pipeline today?
Well said. Put some W's down for Mr. Scheer.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians from Shawinigan to Saskatoon and the premiers and Prime Minister that represent them have agreed on the importance of building projects of national interest. The consensus that's required includes a consensus with Indigenous peoples, something that the members opposite do not do. We will stand with Indigenous Canadians. We will build pipelines, energy infrastructure in the future of this great country.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
If photo props and phony rhetoric actually got things done in this country, then Justin Trudeau would still be Prime Minister.
Yup.
In all seriousness, the Liberals' $500 billion in new spending without a budget will make inflation worse. The PM said that he wants to be judged by prices at the grocery store. So let's look at those prices. The verdict is in. Beef up 34%, apples up 18%, coffee up 9%. Will the Prime Minister listen to Parliament and table a budget that controls spending, lowers taxes, and cuts inflation so Canadians can afford to put food on the table?
There you go, man.
Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased for the first time to hear the members opposite talk about lowering taxes.
That's right.
In front of this House. First time in my hearing. First time in my hearing, Mr. Speaker. Before the House is a tax cut for 22 million Canadians up to $840. They want their support.
The Prime Minister said there would only be pipelines if there was consensus. As it turns out, BC's Premier has said no. Several Liberal MPs are opposed, and even within the Prime Minister's own head, there seems to be opposition, because on the one hand, he says, yes, we're going to go ahead and become the energy superpower, and on the other hand, he says, no, oil needs to stay in the ground. The Prime Minister clearly has no plan to get things done, so why is he putting his elbows down and making us beholden to the United States of America?
The Honourable Minister of Energy and Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, what we saw on Monday were 13 provinces and territories working together to build the strongest economy in the G7. The premiers and the government are focused on building a strong Canadian economy. What we see from my colleagues across the floor are attempts to divide and to block development. I hope Conservatives will join with us in building a strong Canada.
The Honourable Member for Lethbridge.
That is the type of non-answer that has become accustomed to these Liberals. Grand gestures, meetings and press conferences will not get things done, even though the Prime Minister seems to believe that's the case. But what would move things forward, of course, is a plan to scrap Bill C-69, the No New Pipelines Act, a plan to scrap Bill C-48, a plan to scrap the job-killing oil and gas cap that exists. The industrial carbon tax, let's get rid of that as well. Is the Prime Minister simply turning a blind eye to these things, or does he just not know how to get things done?
The Honourable Minister of Energy and Natural Resources.
If my honourable colleague was listening to what happened in Saskatoon, the premiers and the Prime Minister have a plan to fast-track projects, to get projects done within 2 years, and to build the strongest economy in the G7. Why don't you guys get on? Why don't my colleagues get on board?
Canadians will hold account by their experiences at the grocery store. Those are the words of the Prime Minister. So let's see what the new stats say about his performance. Since the start of 2025, the price of rice has gone up 14%, the price of potatoes 13%, the price of infant formula 9%, and beef a whopping 33% up. By that measure, he's failing miserably. The Prime Minister claimed that he had a plan for inflation, but all Canadians got was another $500 billion of spending with no budget. So where is it?
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Does he not want to answer in English? Where's the translator, bro? They muted the feed. You can hear the translator picking her nose. Okay, let me tell you, Mr. Speaker, here's what's going on. The Conservatives are lying, and you just have to believe us because we know what's best, and that's what Canadians voted for. Elbows are up, is what I'm assuming he said. Bro, the translator muted the feed. They still have it on the freaking translator's table. What is going on? Can you hear the translator? Like every now and then you hear like a coffee mug being moved. Or am I tripping out? You
The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation.
Mr. Speaker, and we have reduced the use of consultants to answer the first part of our questions, and we are working on a strong mandate to make government more efficient so that we can deliver more for Canadians, which is exactly what we're doing with a tax cut, Mr. Speaker, for 22 million Canadians. I'm hoping Conservatives can rally behind this very common sense idea. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Newmarket, Aurora.
That's so dumb.
When mothers go grocery shopping, it's about their kids. They would rather go hungry than see them go without. In Newmarket, I met a mother of 3 little boys in tears. She didn't know what she was going to feed them the following week. And who can blame her? 2 bags of groceries now cost $100 and barely last 2 days. The Liberals' inflation is the slow undoing of a family's dignity. Yet the Liberals plan to continue their inflationary spending. Will they present a budget this spring and reduce spending, or will they continue to ask parents to pay for their broken promises?
Dude, I'm literally intermittent fasting so my kids can eat. I'm eating one meal a day.
Mr. Speaker, nobody should go hungry in this country, and that's why we've taken extraordinary measures to support families, just like the member's constituents that she spoke about. Since 2015, Mr. Speaker, child poverty is down by 38%. We've got a ways to go, but we've got to continue working together to get the full benefits of this work.
The Prime Minister said that we should judge him by the prices at the grocery store. Well, beef prices, apples, rice, infant formula, so many things are all up in price. Well, do you know what else is up? It's food bank use. Now, Canadians have to budget, especially during hard times, and that's exactly what they expected from the self-described man with the plan. Canadians need to see a budget from this Liberal government so that they can see what the plan is to reverse 10 years of Liberal tax increases and the effects of their inflationary spending. When will we see a budget?
Mr. Speaker, I'm sure my colleague will be happy because we're actually reducing tax for 22 million Canadians. I'm sure he's going to rejoice this evening because tomorrow or in the coming days he will have the opportunity to put his vote where his mouth is, Mr. Speaker, because he wants to support reducing taxes. Well, we'll give him a great opportunity to vote for reducing tax for 22 million Canadians. I know Canadians are going to be watching at home. We're going to be watching on this side of the aisle to make sure he does the right thing for Canadians.
Hey, if you haven't yet already, hit that like button, folks. It's free to do.
It was this Prime Minister that said that the metric that he should be judged by is the price of food at grocery stores. And prices are up, and so is food bank use. And we have been calling relentlessly for them to put a budget in front of this House. And in fact, Parliament has spoken and has said that this Prime Minister must put a budget forward this spring. So the Prime Minister hasn't delivered on his promise to lower food prices or deliver affordable food. Will he at least respect the will of Parliament, respect the majority of members in this House who have called on him to produce a budget so we can see that plan?
Hey, they're working so tirelessly for us
Mr. Speaker, we
that they're
take
taking the
note
summer
of the
break
vote of
off.
Parliament, but in fact, the people in his riding and my folks from Shawinigan will be watching to make sure that the Conservatives are actually voting in line with their values, Mr. Speaker, because next, in the coming days, they will have this great opportunity. We're giving them a golden opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to show to Canadians that they care, that they want to reduce their taxes, that they want to help 22 million Canadians. We're all going to be watching if they're going to do the right thing. We certainly hope so, Mr. Speaker.
Question period has ended, and we are now waiting for the throne speech. It is supposed to happen today. So for those that are watching the live stream, we're going to keep going until they eventually either do it or don't do it. But if you're watching this on a replay video and it isn't included afterwards, that means they chose not to do it. Okay, so that's what's happening. But if it doesn't happen today, it will happen this week because it's only Wednesday. So the throne speech is the equivalent of Mark Carney facing a vote of non-confidence. Okay, this is huge. The NDP has already said they're voting against. The Bloc had previously said that they want to give Mark Carney a full year to govern, but things change. They aren't happy. They're not getting what they want, and they're getting stuff done against them that they don't appreciate, such as a pipeline. The Bloc doesn't want they don't want the dirty pipeline going through Quebec. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. It's not a dirty pipeline. We have like the highest standard, or one of the highest standards in the entire world for that stuff. So we're waiting patiently for it to happen. But again, if you're watching the video of this, then it means that it didn't happen yet so far, but it will in the coming days. So, Mark Carney could actually be ejected as Prime Minister. That's pretty huge. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, it'd be super awesome for you guys to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.